Joe Gliniewicz was born August 25th, 1963, and again died September 1st, 2015. Now, Joe was part of the military, and so he quickly got the nickname G.I. Joe. And from all the pictures that I'll start inserting into this, you'll start to quickly realize why people used that nickname for him. I mean, his background in the military kind of suits him, but also just the way he looked. Kind of the close shaved head, always had a cigarette in his mouth. After he finished his time in the military, he joined the Fox Lake Police Department in April of 1985. Now, Fox Lake Police Department was the only main job that Joe had after the military. In 1986, only about a year after being on the job, he began helping the police department in the Explorer program. Now, quickly wanted to mention, this Explorer program was dedicated to helping young teens want to become police officers. Now, about 2 years or so after starting this Explorer program, he married his wife, Melody. They were married for 26 years up until his death, and they had 4 sons together. Now, besides Joe's lying and stealing, there was also sexual harassment issues and drinking issues. Joe's alcohol problem started as early as May of 1988 when he passed out in his truck with his foot on the pedal. A sheriff's deputy found him but couldn't wake him up. The next morning after that event, Joe didn't remember where he put his truck, and so he actually reported his truck stolen. That is until the sheriff's office told him, no, hey, wait a minute, we helped you with your car or truck. It was towed, it wasn't stolen. Joe told them that he had drunk 6 beers and several shots of hard liquor. Now, it doesn't say if any criminal charges were thrown against him for that particular event. August 1988, Joe was playing volleyball, had some drinks, and he didn't report to work for several days, and so he ended up getting suspended for at least 2 days because of that. Also in 2003, a woman came forward and told investigators that Joe had pressured her into performing a sexual act on him at least 5 times back in 2000. Now, this woman was a department employee, and she was under Joe's supervision in the Explorer program. However, for whatever reason, a court actually dismissed that charge in 2005 after the woman and her attorney missed deadlines. By 2014, Joe's world started to unravel pretty fast. A new village administrator had been appointed, and her name was Ann Martin. And in Joe's mind, she was the enemy. Now, I'm thinking he thought that she would start to uncover all of his past crimes, and maybe he thought he'd be fired, I'm not sure. Joe had already spent tens of thousands of dollars that he stole, and he spent it on pretty much everything that you can think of, including paying for trips, paying for his mortgage, paying for access to adult websites. Now, Joe had already erased all of his text messages that were on his phone before his suicide. However, the FBI were able to retrieve about 6,500 pieces of documents from his phone. Joe considered retiring from the force as a way out of this mess. In some of these texts, Joe mentions the village administrator and said, quote unquote, "She hates me. If she gets a hold of this old checking account, I'm pretty well screwed." And Joe's son, who participated in that text thread, said, quote, "Hopefully she decides to get a couple of drinks in her and gets a DUI." Joe fired back saying that he's thought of many different scenarios trying to get out of this. And to be fair, I'm not sure how he wasn't fired already at this point. I mean, how many crimes did he commit? How many investigations on him did he commit? Tons and tons. But he never once got fired. I mean, he got in trouble, I guess, but he didn't get fired. All right, guys, right in front of us, this is the grave of Joe Gliniewicz. As you can tell, it is unmarked. There used to be a sign right here that had Joe's name, and I believe it had his picture on it, but I'm thinking that the locals around here most likely took it away, tore it down, trashed it. As I mentioned earlier, Joe brought so much disgrace on the community, the Explorer program, everything in general. I'm in Fox Lake, Illinois, and I'm walking to the location where Joe Gliniewicz killed himself. He made it seem like he was murdered. He put a radio dispatch out, or police dispatch out, that 2 white males and 1 black male had shot him and were heading towards a swamp. Now, when police arrived as backup, they discovered Joe's body at this abandoned kind of cement factory. He had been shot 2 times. 1 shot entered his bulletproof vest and stopped. The other bullet went through his torso. Obviously it's fenced off, gated off, private property, so I can't go back there, but again, he killed himself pretty much right around the corner there. Police in this area thought that, of course, their buddy, their fellow cop, Joe, was murdered. That's everything pointed to that, because all of his gear was strewn about. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I came to the actual location where that happened, even though I couldn't really get much farther than I showed you from the gate. Now, I feel like I gave a lot of information, and I'm sure there's going to be someone in the comments that will say, wait a minute, you forgot to mention this, 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 or this. And I'm sure that's true. I mean, in any case I do, there's always going to be a little piece of information that I didn't see or that I didn't mention. And again, this case had so much that I simply just gave as much as I could. And I gave the main points of his life and what happened. So anyway, hopefully you guys understand that. Again, if you're new around here and you enjoy these kind of videos, just make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.